All right, so for CIS, we're going to take a look at this, and we have PHP. All right, so this is the HTML right here, and so that's the tab, and then you have form action PHP 2. That will execute this part over here. So if I drag this over, you'll see it right there. In fact, I can make it a little bigger. See it up there? Right? All right. All of this work, what do you think this does? Yeah, it's going to access your database. Okay? Is this an issue? Yeah, that's an issue because it's plain text. Now, we'll talk. Remember what I say about security issues?
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll deal with that later, because at this point, what we want to do is we want to get it to work. And that, in this course, that's our main intent, to show you that you can do this. Now, over here, you see this name. Now, if you take a look at that, if I, oops, undo that. If I drag this back a little bit, so we have this, I'll use another color. We have this input text that tells you what you're going to input. Size 10, that's how big it makes the box. And we give it a name. And that name matches up with this post part over here. PHP, when it gets that information sent to it, it comes to it in an array. Those that have had programming language, yeah, you could do lots of things with that array when you get it. But all I'm doing is I'm taking it and I'm putting it in a variable. Do you see it? This, I'm taking it and putting it in this variable. So then what happens when all of these get sent over to the add, when they get sent over, I'm taking them and putting them in these variables. And I'm using a variable name that's the same as those field names. That make sense? All right. Okay, so let's keep moving. So now, I'm going to slide this up a little bit. So I'll finish up on the left side so we can emphasize the other side. So this one goes over, this one goes over. Input type, this is going to be a submit, which is going to cause it to go to this file and send all those names to it. This is just the words that appear there. But this is the actual action right here, the submit. All right? So now you have them in your PHP. And I took them, okay? I took them and I assigned them to these variables. Okay? Now, this next part, I guess I can go right here. This next part, create connections. If you follow this, new, MySQL I has something to do with something new. I'd have to look up the exact reasoning, but it gives a server name, username, password, and database. You could actually put those things right in there. It's easier to state them earlier first and then let it do this. This is going to give you a failed if the connection didn't work. So if you don't get a failure, here's your SQL. Insert into members. This SQL is no different than what you've learned. Values, and these are from, I use a different color. These, right? Do you know? These are from up here. I assigned them. Get it? I took this from the, I assigned it, and then I put it there. Okay? All right. So I got my SQL statement. It's going to see if this is true, if I actually have that. And if it isn't, it gives me an error that it didn't complete it. So if it completes this connection, it actually completes that command successfully. If that's true, it'll tell you that. If you have an error there, and you got to close the connection. The connection you started up here, you got to close it here. All right. So are we good with that? Okay. So let me move to the next page. To be quicker here. Oops. Let me undo that. So I'm going to take here, I'm going to save the project. Okay, so down here on the bottom, that's directly from the database. So you know exactly what the fields are. Does that make sense? And their names. And then let me move back up. So, same thing as before, right? This gets me in to the database, opens it and so forth. Here's my SQL, right? Select these from here. You can write any SQL in there that you want, anything. This gets a little trickier here. So results actually do it. Results ends up being an array, and this information here will print that information out from the array. It makes sure that results has something in it, and then it says while there's still something there, it echoes prints it to the screen. So it echoes those out. And they're stored again in an array. Yeah, this one works. This is the one where we did read PHP and it printed it all out. And of course, you can take and really do some nice HTML things once you get these values. Do you know what I mean? You could put them in a nice browser.
Okay, so at the end I see it says MySQL.
Yep.
What's the I?
Yep. That's what I mentioned earlier. It has to do, it's been an improvement, but I don't think I stands for improvement.
Input?
No, it doesn't stand for input. No. Because you'll see that, you see that in all the files. The MySQL I is in all of them. Okay? We close it here, and then we're done.